propose throwing the greatest party in the history of the school, if not the world.
Wait a minute. Did I hear what I thought I heard? Somebody up there likes me.
Would you please explain it to the class?
Dude, I am all over it. Just give me a second to wipe myself off in here.
This is too weird.
What should we do?
I never want to have to think about stuff.
Are you sure you don't want to stay up with me and watch Attack of the Deadly Killer Nightmare Visitors from Hell?
Muffy, come on. It'll be fun. Okay.
There's some more weird stuff. It may not even be related.
It all looks so perfect. I know. If I wasn't talking about myself, I wouldn't believe it either.
I am getting so big.
Bitch being popular.
Holy Toledo.
Hey, look, this isn't Michael J. Fox we're dealing with here.
Well, you done entertaining the neighborhood? You're gonna see me plenty crazy in the years to come.
Keep me posted every inch of the way.
Hello, fellow followers. Welcome back to FanZcene. Doing a special live stream for you tonight with Jason Bean, the late night classics guy. Did I say your name right, Bean?
Actually, it's Benet, but it's all good.
Okay, I always should ask you backstage because a lot of times I always forget to ask people how to pronounce their names. But Jason Benet of the Late Night Classics of Culture Shock releasing here. We're going to talk a little bit about their upcoming slate of movies that you just saw there. So tell your friends, get some people coming in here. I know we just started. Sometimes it takes a minute for everybody to funnel in, but come on in and let's have a good chat on physical media tonight. So Jason, where do you want to start with all this?
It's up to you. You want to go back to physical media collecting, Culture Shock releasing? It's up to you. It's your show.
We'll start with the physical media collecting. So I'm a huge physical media collector, and you are too. So how's it like you got started with this whole physical media world?
It started 30 years ago when I started working for a video store. You might have heard they call Blockbuster Video.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I started there at the tail end of 92. And I worked basically from Blockbuster to Suncoast Motion Picture Company to DVD Planet, which ran from 92 to 2006. And so if you're a movie fan, which I am, and you work at a video store, a lot of your paycheck just ends up going right back into your job.
Right.
So I think I probably picked up my first VHSs at Blockbuster Video because I was there receiving the product and I was there, putting it out and talking to customers. And that was definitely my first introduction to movies. I didn't buy Laserdisc. It was definitely VHS.
That was all. Yeah, I never got into Laserdiscs. So
we used to rent them, but I remember when you had to buy them, they were very expensive and they were very, they took up a lot of space.
Yeah.
So, but I was tempted because a lot of stuff was, letterboxed and, like the Abyss director's cut was on Laserdisc. So there was temptations, but I never bought into it. No pun intended. But basically, I started shopping everywhere. This is the old days. You have to think, early 90s, who was out there that's no longer, in business? Music Plus, Warehouse, Tower Records, Suncoast Motion Picture Company, all these places you would shop and you would just buy up everything. And that's what I did up until, I want to say 1997, 1998. I bought my first DVD player. Yeah. And I literally stopped buying VHS. I know that's I know you love your VHS, and I shouldn't be saying that, but
it's okay. I just like 3 years ago is when I restarted collecting VHS because I gave it up too. But about 3 years ago, I started recollecting.
Well, it was amazing because you went from full screen to widescreen. You had maybe no extra features or like a couple trailers on VHS to having audio commentaries, deleted scenes, TV spots, theatrical trailers. So literally, I just got into the DVD game, and I still, even to this day, will still pick up DVDs just because the price point might be good, or I'm not that overly concerned with the picture quality on every title. And I mean, even this week, there was a slasher film written by Kevin Williamson, which was a Peacock exclusive called Sick. It's a pandemic era slasher. It just got released on DVD only.
Yeah, because DVD is still the number one selling form of physical media. So,
but no Blu-ray, which they probably should have done both just to appease both fans. But it's only on DVD, so there's still a market for it. I think people are ready to kick it to the curb, and I think that's a mistake. And
yeah,
that's a discussion. And that actually goes into streaming, which I'll leave for later or another time. That you still have to put out. I get it. 4K is the best. To me, though, Blu-ray is what's going to keep everything together. That's going to be what's going to be around for the longest time. But DVD, don't be quick to dismiss it because it still outsells Blu-ray and 4K.
Yeah. We've actually just talking about, because somebody was trying to say, should DVDs have been discontinued? And we're like, no, because if you really think about it, the average person, they don't care about picture quality. They don't care about a Blu-ray. They don't care about 4K. And a lot of like cars and stuff for their kids still have DVD players in them. So they're still going to buy those DVDs for their kids in the back, and people still have DVDs in their home. Their computers still have DVDs. Their stuff like that. So DVD is still like the number one form. That's why people, like most people, just like, as long as they can watch it, they're fine with the DVD.
Well, and the casual movie collector, they want to spend $15, $20, not $25, $30. And if you get into talking about Severin, we might be talking $60.
Yeah.
The prices are just all over the place. So I get it. It is an inferior picture quality, but to me, it's irrelevant of the format. As long as you love movies, just buy what you want. But anyways, so I collected DVDs forever, but I think in the last 10 years or so, I really fully supported Blu-ray. I wasn't always buying every Blu-ray. I pick and choose, some DVDs, some Blu-ray. I think when Vinegar Syndrome came on the scene, Scream Factory, Severin, all these guys, Kino, Arrow Video, then and then the slipcovers at the beginning, I wasn't a fan.
Right.
Actually, some of the Vestron ones that came through, I just kind of tossed them in the trash.
Oh.
Because it was the exact same artwork as what was on the inside. And I don't even regret it because they were kind of flimsy. It wasn't the best quality. But in hindsight, now that I am, a slipcover horror, I kind of regretted it, but I can't go back and fix that. But now I want slipcovers on everything, especially what's being done now. I mean, you almost feel like when you get a movie without the slipcover, it's missing something.
Yeah, it doesn't feel the same in your hands. And I know some people like slipcover. It's like you were saying, you toss them. Some people just like do not care about them. But nowadays, it's like the artwork and stuff and the thicker cardboard on some of them. It's just like it really feels special now. I always say it reminds me of the video store, because the artwork that they put on the slipcover when you like used to look in the VHSs and stuff, you see the artwork, because a lot of those slipcases are being designed like that, and that's what it reminds me of.
And I think that's what's great. That home video movie experience, it's probably never going to be like that again. There's just no way to turn back the technology to the pre-digital internet age. So I think what we do now is we bring the video store to our house.
Yeah.
I look behind you. There's your video store.
Yeah.
And the community that we used to have in the video stores talking to each other has been replaced by what we're doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Or you go to a convention and you bump into people, and this is kind of the community of 2023. This is kind of how we do it.
Yeah, it's all sort of gone online.
But yeah, I mean, to me, I have been converted to the slipcover person where I wasn't before. But now they're learning, they're making them stronger. They're thicker. What Vinegar Syndrome's doing with VSU, and not just slip covers, but split covers where they're breaking off, and there's just it's kind of like a Rubik's Cube. You're kind of putting things together, and it's kind of impressive. And I will say this: there's this whole argument of when was the golden age of home video. It's right now, because I'll say this. And I'm old enough was around with VHS. Yes, we had the most titles, but we didn't have picture quality. We didn't have director's cut. We didn't have unrated, uncut. It was very censored. Again, there's no extras, right? So it was limited. So from quantity, yeah, we might not ever get to that point, but for quality, it just wasn't there. So I think that's the Bronze Age. The DVD era was the Silver Age, and right now is the Golden Age of collecting. I think since the last 10 to 12 years, I don't think people realize the amount of movies we're getting almost on a daily basis is insane.
Right. I agree.
I mean, uncut, pristine, great picture quality, great audio, flip covers.
Yep.
Like Fate, because Fatal Games just got announced. Nobody ever thought that was going to come to Blu-ray. It never went to DVD. Those kind of under the radar slasher films, we're getting Evil Laugh and all these things that it's just unheard of.
I know. That's what I think I did a video about that not too long ago. And somebody's like, no, the Golden Age started when the VHS happened. I was like, yeah, you could say that. But then if you really think, because like I was just looking at some charts and the outputs of Blu-rays and DVDs have gone up from 2018 to 2023. There's more being released now than there has ever been. And it's like you said, we're getting direct cuts. They're finding these cuts, the 35 millimeter, 16 millimeter, 8 millimeter prints. And within those prints, they're also finding scenes that were not put on in theaters or in the VHS. They're all together and they're like scanning them, and we're getting like a new experience of the movie. And like you said, multiple cuts of the film, slip covers, just Blu-rays, 4Ks out it's insane. I can't keep up with all the releases that are coming out. It's just crazy.
I mean, my wallet can't keep up either. It's just right. you have to prioritize like what's a necessity and what is something you can wait. But unfortunately, FOMO is a real thing. And if you wait too long, you might not be able to buy it. And then you have to go on eBay and maybe pay 3 times the amount. So it's a good problem to have, but it's amazing what's coming out. I mean, because I can remember 20 years ago when Anchor Bay was doing, at the height of DVD, let's say, or Blue Underground or Elite or Synapse Films, we had to wait months. And you might have get 2 movies. We are getting just from one, let's just say Vinegar Syndrome. Forget the partner labels for a second. You can get anywhere from 4 to 8 movies a month, depending if they're putting out a VSU or a VSL or a VSA. That's just one company.
Right.
That's not counting what Severin is cranking out and Arrow and Criterion. And it's just, so I know people will argue what's the golden age. You're living in it right now. And is physical media dying?
I'm so tired of people saying that. It's mind-boggling why people keep saying that. But I do like what Bruce Todd said here. He says that's a fair point, especially for them in the UK, because he's from the UK. So much of stuff was banned, the video nasties and stuff. So they didn't get a lot of that on VHS over there, but they're getting it now. So that's a fair point.
I guess the argument that people for the golden age or, it being dead is they're going off of numbers from decades ago. And that's not fair because a lot of that was casual customers, more mainstream audience that might have been buying. Now it's a niche audience.
Mm-hmm.
We're the one that's driving it. And no, we might not ever get back to 2005 numbers, but what's going on the last 5 years is insane. I mean, the amount of movies that are coming out that they're jumping from VHS to Blu-ray or maybe in VHS to 4K.
Yeah.
That's just unheard of. And
it's like,
it's not going to die as long as there's an audience to buy it. And there's an audience. And trust me, I could go on my computer right now and find tens and thousands of films that have never been on DVD or Blu-ray. Now, maybe there's a rights issue or I don't know, but there's a lot more to come. And we're just kind of like getting started. But I do think it's important for companies not to just to put out the older stuff.
Right.
The 70s, 80s, and 90s. Because what'll happen is everybody's pulling from the same bag. And eventually it's going to dry up a little bit. So it is good to put out new films. I understand a lot of people don't like anything that came out from the year 2000
to
2023. I think that's a little unfair. There's bad movies back in the 70s and 80s and 90s just as well as today. But the numbers do speak volumes that the newer stuff doesn't seem to move
right
like the older stuff.
I do believe it was what was his name? Bill Lustig, Blue Underground. He said it's going to drop in like 5 years. That's what he was saying. He says like he sees like in 5 years there's going to be like with everybody fighting over these movies, that it's going in like 5 years. A lot of those titles might not be available because everybody's doing them. So,
well, that's a funny comment from Bill Lustig because he only puts out like a couple movies a year, right?
Right.
And it's dude, it's the same movies that I bought on DVD 20, 25 years ago. I mean, occasionally there's a couple new ones, like there was The Lift and Down in Amsterdam, all from Dick Moss. But a lot of this is Maniac Cop 2, New York Ripper, and that's great. But Little He's released them on DVD, Blu-ray, and 4K. He's not really grabbing a lot of new stuff. He's just kind of recycling the same films. Granted, he's smarter than me. He's been in the industry. I'm more kind of new to it, but the drop in 5 years, no.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. So.
I don't think so. I mean, as long as there's fans, I mean, we are getting to a point where we are starting to re-release movies too much, the same movie, and you either agree with it or you don't. A lot of the stuff that Scream Factory, it's, Child's Play, 4K, the next Wes Craven film, they kind of go through the motions of, they put it on DVD, they did it on Blu-ray with every intention of doing 4K, then they wait a year or two later and it drops on 4K. You can be mad about it, or you speak with your wallet and go, I'm just not going to pick it up.
Right.
I
that
just think
that does get a little aggravating when they do that. They're like, okay, we put out the Blu-ray, and then 6 months later, here's the 4K. That does get a little aggravating. But I know like those are the ones that are also selling too. So it's like you said, it's a good problem to have, but also at the same time, we are starting to re-release a lot of stuff.
But at the end of the day, we don't have to buy it. No boutique company forces us to buy anything, but they know how to put on a fancy slipcover and beautiful artwork. And they trust me, I'm just like everybody else. When I see it, I get excited and go, ooh, and I have to have it. And sometimes you have to take a deep breath because $300 later, you're like, oh shit. How much money did I spend?
Right. That's me. Like I just dropped a bunch on like the speaking of Scream Factory, the Night of the Demons movies. I just dropped a bunch on those because I'm a huge fan of Linnea Quigley. I dig the first one, and it's on 4K. Which I probably didn't need the 4K, to be honest with you. I probably didn't. But the part 2 and part 3, like part 3 had never been released on Blu-ray ever, or I don't even know if it had a DVD. So I was kind of happy to pick up that one, even if that is the worst of the 3. But I'm glad to have those, be able to have those 3.
I used to own a Canadian DVD of the third film. It's not as good as the first 2. That's evident. But what's tempting to pick it up now is there's multiple cuts.
Exactly. They went back to the negative.
Now, I don't know if they can save the film if there's different footage, but it makes you want to revisit it if it's a different version that might or might not help it. I've actually always liked the second film more than the first film. I know I'm in the minority there. I know people love the first film. I think the first film works for me because it feels like a Halloween film.
Yeah.
Like, the atmosphere. But I feel like the second moves better and it's just as naughty and nasty and fun. But first 2 are neck and neck.
Yeah.
The remake kind of falls with the third film.
Now, see, I've never seen the remake yet. I have not seen it, so
it's with the third film. 1 and 2 are at the top, third and the remake are at the bottom. But yeah, I'm still deciding if I'm going to pick up all 3. I'm definitely going to get 2. I've loved it. I never picked up the I think Olive Films had done a Blu-ray prior.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
not a lot of extra features, so I'm good.
Yeah,
but,
I like I like them. You're right. The second movie is probably a better movie than the first movie, but they're pretty good. And I love the insanity of the films. they're crazy. But yeah, and like the third one though, the remake, I've never seen that. I was going to pick it up. Speaking of like earlier, it's OOP. People are selling that for like $40 a pop on eBay and stuff. So I was like, I don't need it that bad.
I mean, it's a decent film. It's not a bad film. It's a different era. It was made 13 years ago, so it's not going to feel like old school. It's going to feel different. But I actually think the makeup effects that Steve Johnson did in the original are better than whoever did the makeup in the remake.
Yeah,
that's just my opinion. But yeah. So I'm collecting, and now I'm helping out my friend Daniel Del Pozo, who he's the owner of Culture Shock Releasing, and
yeah. Okay, go ahead. I was going to say if you wanted to get into that or not.
Before Culture Shock Releasing, he had started a company called Lo-Fi Video, which you're going to love. It was VHS, and this was started in 2014. So his love for those films in that format, even if it wasn't like cool and he shouldn't have been doing it, that's what he loved. And he put out a bunch of VHS, but he realized that it was time to get into the Blu-ray game.
Right.
So he started Culture Shock Releasing, and he actually did some DVDs. Let me see.
Yeah, I know one of them was yeah, go ahead, show them up. Here, I'll do this so you
can. Creep Tales.
Yeah, the Creep Tales. That's one I was gonna.
And Good Night, God Bless. And then he finally started to do some Blu-rays.
Don, what's his name's? Yeah, Donald Farmer stuff. Oh,
that's Collector. So basically, that was the transition that he made from Lo-Fi Video to Culture Shock Releasing, and that's the movies he put out before OCN reached out to him about becoming a partner label with Vinegar Syndrome. And I think he knew he was always going to make that move because it was just going to give him more visibility. Mm-hmm. That many more people were going to have eyes on him, where before it was kind of like a little bit more underground and not as visible. So he became a partner label and probably released about 15 or 16 Blu-rays with OCN. And some did better than others, but I think it really put us on the map.
Yeah. And I know I noticed you guys with Girlfriend from Hell. That's where I first noticed you guys, because once I saw that, I was kind of excited to get that one. I should have brought my I didn't get the slipcover. See, I wanted the slipcover so bad. Here, I'll play you up again so you can see that.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah, I did not get the slipcover, and I like the eyes look like they almost glow.
and here's the funny thing is, the bread and butter of Culture Shock has been horror and exploitation, but the two best-selling releases are Girlfriend from Hell and Late Night Classics Volume 1.
That's what I love. I
absolutely love this. And
here, I'll play you back up again. I should probably.
Oh,
I keep forgetting. I should probably do this when you show them so people can see it better. Yeah, I have that one. I should have brought my Culture Shock ones over here. I almost forgot the name. Sorry, I should have brought my Culture Shock ones over here to show you guys. But
I have them all over here in the pile if I need to grab anything.
Yeah, that's where I noticed you guys, and I missed out on the slipcover for that, and that makes me mad for Girlfriend from Hell. But I think maybe I remember seeing that on TV, but not all the way through. And that's what I really like about like companies like your guys, like your friends, and how you work there, because it's movies that I don't remember, maybe I do remember, maybe I've seen, and it's something different and fun. And it's just like this weird eclectic mix you guys put out, and I really like that.
And I'll just say this is more Daniel. I mean, I grew up watching all these films, but even like some of the ones he's putting out, I'm like, I've never heard of this.
Right.
Or I remember seeing on the shelf and I never grabbed it. So I would say almost all the movies he put out, I only saw them because he released them. I mean, I've seen Girlfriend from Hell and Virgin High and a few other ones, but I had never seen, let me see, wait up.
I had never seen Creep Tales, and I've been meaning to pick that one up myself.
I've never seen Flesh Merchant with Michelle Bauer or Devil Rider.
It's awesome.
Death Magic. Video Murders.
Slash
Dance or Hollywood's New Blood.
We're going to have to ask Joe Lynch if he likes Slash Dance. Streets of Death and Night Ripper. The Night Ripper is one I've been wanting to pick up. And also the one with Ginger Lynn. Do you have that one? The Mind, Body, Soul or whatever? Yeah, that's one I've really been meaning to pick up. I have been trying to get on that one here soon.
Well, that's a Rick Sloan film, Mr. Vice Academy.
Yeah, I love the Vice Academy movies. Oh,
and
they're
actually,
so good.
I think that Mind, Body, and Soul is one of his best films. Even though it's not one of his TNA sex comedies, it's actually really good.
Yeah.
But
go ahead.
No.
Yeah, because that's one I've been wanting to get in. That's why I like you guys. That's your company there. But yeah, I love the Rick Sloan stuff. He does awesome stuff.
So let me backtrack real quick because I think I jumped way ahead.
Yeah, we kind of.
It's okay because it's an organic discussion. That's the way it should be. But late night classics began way back probably in 2010. I used to write for a website that's unfortunately it's gone, called Killer Film. And I did a retrospective series / kind of a column where I was discussing films that I missed from the 80s and 90s. Either they were on Skinamax or mom and pop video stores carried them, or they were seen on USA Up All Night with Rhonda Shear. And I was coming up with the title. I was like, it's got to be a good, catchy title. And I thought about Midnight Classics. Oh, that's good, but it's not catchy. And then Late Night Classics just made sense. It sounded like a Steven Seagal film, right? Out for Justice, Above the Law, Marked for Death.
Yeah.
Late Night Classics. But what I did is I would do interviews with people. So it was I wanted to make it more interesting than me just typing 2,000 words. And who cares what I think? I want to hear about the people that worked on the film. So I would go to conventions, screenings, or on social media, and I would DM them and be like, I want to do a retrospective on The Lamp or Tales from the Hood or, Dead Heat. And these people would say yes. And usually they were directors. They seemed to be the most friendly and open to doing stuff. And a lot of the films probably were trashed when they came out. So I think they were surprised that somebody was coming along, but was doing it because they admired the film, not because they were going to roast it.
Right.
And so unfortunately, eventually I left Killer Film. I stopped doing Late Night Classics. And then, Daniel and I, we met in 2009. What happened was I was going to a lot of signings and conventions. There was a video store in Van Nuys, California called Spudik's Movie Empire. Brick and mortar video store. But he would do signings and he would bring people in. And I would go to every one. They brought in Jill Sholin and Caroline Williams and Rolf Konevsky and all these different genre people. And at every single signing, this guy Daniel was there. And it was never a big turnout, which was kind of good. Because not only did we get to talk to the celebrities one-on-one without being interrupted, I got to talk to the few 10, 15 fans who showed up. And Daniel was one of them. And then we hit it off and we started doing conventions together. We were actually in a couple movies together as extras. Couple Fred Owen Ray films. We were like,
nice.
We were in a movie called Super Shark.
Nice.
and if you watch it, there's a scene, it was a bikini contest, right? And it's hosted by Jimmy Walker from Good Times. And Daniel and we didn't need much acting training. We're supposed to act like we're cheering on these girls in bikinis.
Right.
So it's me and Daniel, and actually in the scene with us is David Dakota. and we're all cheering it on, which is hilarious because David's gay. So I joked with him that he did the best acting because I knew he wasn't interested in what was happening in front of him.
I don't need to see them jiggle.
Yeah, so he laughed it off. And so Daniel and I are in the same scene. And then we were in another film called After Midnight, which is a thriller that Fred directed. And it's the same scenario, but we're at a strip joint. And it's Christine Nguyen, who's been in a lot of Fred Owen Ray movies and Jim Wynorski films.
Yeah.
And Daniel and I are we're giving her money. And she's basically topless with the G-string. And talk about a great day off from work, right? That's
that's got to be a good side gig right there.
So we became friends. I remember doing a convention in LA. Dario Argento actually came out, and he never came to the West Coast. So I had met him during the day, but at the end of the day on Saturday, it's always busy, and everybody goes to the hotel bar after a long day.
Yeah.
And Dario was there at the bar by himself. And I called Daniel. I was like, "Did you get a chance to meet Dario today?" "No." "Get the fuck over here. He's at the bar sitting by himself. How many opportunities are you going to have to meet this guy?"
Right.
And Daniel did. And so that was very, very cool. And then, when he started Culture Shock, he started doing, I got this sex comedy, Virgin High and Hot in the Collar. I'm like, instead of releasing them, let's make a subline underneath the Culture Shock umbrella, because nobody's doing sex comedies.
Right. Comedies,
yeah, but not the old school ones that are direct to video. Nobody's doing erotic thrillers. Let's do like a line, bring back late night classics, put it, let's do volume 1, a double feature, Virgin High, Hot Under the Collar. They're a sequel, they're a tandem. Let's put it together. And I knew it was going to sell well, but damn,
right.
It did really well. I think it's going to be the focus of Culture Shock for, we're still going to do horror and exploitation, trust me, but I think the anchor of this company is late night classics, and the numbers speak volumes to it.
I know, because when you guys announced it, that was probably one of the fastest pre-orders I've ever pre-ordered from you guys, because it went like that. Like as soon as I went to pre-order, I think there was only like 300 left with the slip at the time, and it was like it went quick.
Well, unfortunately, we didn't have a lot of say in how many slip covers were printed. That's just not
right. Yeah.
They only did 1,500. I think we should have done 3,000 at least, because we sold all 1,500 in about 10 days. And, it doesn't change the movie, right? You still get to watch the film, but the artwork is amazing. And
yes,
I feel like you do miss out when you don't have that artwork, because it just gives it a little bit of extra,
Yeah.
You got your money's worth. You got the movies, you got the slip cover. And I wish we could have done more. Maybe now that we're with, Ryan Grayface, and Terror Vision's already there, we're there. Maybe we can do a new run of more of them, or maybe an alternate slip cover for them. I don't know. That's not for me to decide, but I think it would be nice for the people that missed it, because I know that Terror Vision did that. They redid a slip cover for, was it WNUF?
WNUF Halloween.
And it looks probably better than the original one. I think it sold like hotcakes. So maybe down the line, we could redo volume 1.
That'd be cool. And because I gotta tell you, I love that. Like, you guys got me with like the USA Up All Night, Rhonda Shear, and I just like, well, I know we'll get to it here, but I saw Rhonda Shear in that trailer for the, for what some of the stuff you guys got coming out soon. But we'll get to them. We'll get to your new releases. I know some people are going to want to know about them, but we'll get to them. Go ahead.
Really quick, Rhonda Shear, there's a movie that was actually directed by David Dakota. It's not a sex comedy, it's a comedy called The Girl I Want with Linnea Quigley. Never been on any physical media format, not even VHS. It only showed on USA Up All Night. So probably the only way you could watch it is if somebody uploads it to YouTube or you find a bootleg copy.
Right.
that would totally fit the late night classics line. Maybe we can get it. I believe David Dakota owns the rights to it. So that's a possibility in the future. I was more of a, and back in the day, I was more of an Elvira, Rhonda Shear fan than I was Joe Bob and even Mystery Science Theater 3000. I guess Bring Me the Hot Girls, right? Then I kind of gravitated more toward what they were doing than and I know that's probably a sin to say with the popularity of The Last Drive. Yeah.
But I'm with you. I was watching Elvira. I was watching Rhonda.
Take that, Jason. Yeah.
I'm with you, though. I was watching all of them. I watched Elvira. I mean, I know, like everybody said, Gilbert Gottfried did that. Yeah, I know Gilbert Gottfried did that, but I was watching Rhonda. That's don't get me wrong. I love Gilbert Gottfried's Up All Night, but I was watching Rhonda because did you see Rhonda?
I know. And I remember just watching it for the bumpers, right? I mean, even if the movie wasn't interesting, but she would bring on all these people that were in the movies.
Right. I loved like in her bed, she'd lift up her covers and boom, somebody would be in her bed and be like the star of the movie or a guest or something. That was fun. Yeah.
When you're a horny guy and it's late at night and everybody's asleep, you're putting on Rhonda Shear or you're pulling up your cable, and the movies will always be there for you. People, that's a whole nother story. They're flaky, but movies is what does well. Do you want to start talking about the what's coming soon?
Yeah, if you're ready to get into that, because I know I'm excited. Speaking of since we talked about the late night classics, and we're on the Rhonda and Elvira here, Revenge of the Party or Assault of the Party Nerds. I almost said Revenge of the Nerds. Assault of the Party Nerds 1 and 2. Once again, Richard Gabai flicks. Shout out to Richard Gabai. I just watched his Bikini Drive-In with him from Fred Olin Ray. Great movie. But yeah, I'm excited for those two. You want to talk a little about them too before we get into other ones, or you want to go into the?
Yeah, but I do need to pick that up. Is it a good disc from Make?
Yeah, it looks pretty good. I mean, it's a HD scan, so it looks good. It's better than DVD quality. I thought it held up. I thought the picture quality looked great, and it looks pretty cool. It was a new scan from the negative, so.
And I think they just released or pre-ordering Hot Tub. What is it?
Hot Tub, Scream Queen Hot Tub. Scream Queen Hot Tub, yeah.
Which, if you get Bikini Drive-In, you kind of have to get the Hot Tub, right?
Right. That's what I plan on getting too, because that one's cheaper. That one's actually cheaper because the Bikini Drive-In was hand signed by Michelle Bauer, the first 1,000 units. So like if you got the first 1,000 units, it's actually hand signed by her. Then but the Hot Tub is $16.99. That's not a bad deal at all.
No, it's a good price.
Yeah.
So probably the first movie that we released as part of our deal with Greyface was Night of the Bastards. So that's available for pre-order now through greyface.com, through cultureshockreleasing.com. It's a horror film.
Pull up the picture while you're talking about it for everybody. You go ahead, talk while I'm looking for it.
Okay. It came out in 2022. It's actually from Dark Sky Films. We actually acquired the rights from them to put it out. So this is its Blu-ray debut. And it's kind of like a Race with the Devil 70s type of horror thriller. And the ironic thing is one of the actors in the film is Eric Spudik, who was the guy that had the video store that did the signings where I met Daniel. So everything's come full circle.
Let's see if I can show this up here for you.
Yeah, no worries.
But yeah, that's pretty cool though. So it's kind of full circle, huh?
Exactly. And he's actually in the movie where, many years ago, Daniel and I met at his video store.
Is this what it is? There you go.
You can click on
try to get a good picture for you.
Maybe you go to the Culture Shock website and you'll actually have the official, the slip cover is different. Take your time.
It's going to load up here. So we'll see. There you go.
I don't
know if I can show that.
I don't know if you can show that. Sorry.
Yeah. Stop sharing that with
I forgot about I forgot about the nipple step. You're going to get I'm sorry. You're gonna get dinged for that.
That's all right. I don't think we showed it long enough.
Okay. So that's
but go ahead, talk
available
about that
now.
investment. Yeah, that's available now.
So Late Night Classics Volume 2 is a double feature, Assault of the Party Nerds 1 and 2. Makes sense to put them together. Both directed and starring Richard Gabai. You got Michelle Bauer, you got Linnea Quigley, and in the second film, Rhonda Shear's in it, as you saw in the trailer.
Yeah.
So I think it's awesome. I think it wasn't planned that way, but I think it's a perfect nod to why Late Night Classics exist, is all these ladies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Linnea Quigley, Michelle Bauer. Hopefully we get a Brink Stevens film, because she's
say you need to Brink Steven.
she's part of that too. And of course, if it wasn't for Revenge of the Nerds, these films wouldn't exist.
Right.
But those two titles are next in line. The slipcovers are done. I've seen them both. They're in the style of the first volume. So it's got the same artist and it looks great. And we're still working on extra features. I think the plan is to have Richard and Rhonda Shear do an audio commentary for the second one.
That is awesome.
So I think we want it to come out sooner than later, but we don't want to rush it. We want to make sure the extra features are good. So maybe it'll be out, by November. It's getting pushed back a little bit.
I'm all for waiting for a disc, to make sure it's right, so that because I don't want to get a disc rushed out and then people start complaining. I'm all for, like, people were complaining about the Monster Squad 4K not being released on Halloween. They were like, you know what? If we could have got it out by Halloween, we would have got it out by Halloween. It's a no-brainer, but it had to be done right. So I'm happy. I can wait till November for Monster Squad. I can wait till December or January if you have to for Late Night Classics Volume 2.
I think it's great that, at least on Twitter, that actually they responded to somebody with a little snark, and I loved it.
Yeah, I love that too. I love that.
Because look, certain films feel right in Halloween time. I get it. But do you want it out November of this year or October of next year? Right. I would rather have it November of this year. I don't care if I watch it at Halloween. It's an amazing film. It's good any time of the year. So I think that's funny. I think that's when, beggars can't be choosers. Just, you're getting that movie in 4K. It's going to look amazing. They ported over the Wolfman's Got Nards documentary. It's got a ton of extras. It's going to be the ultimate release for that film. Just wait another month or so.
Yeah, and it's already sold out. The first in this run's already sold out on Kino. So.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Do you remember what the price was?
I think it's like maybe $40, maybe $35. I'm not really sure, but it usually goes down, because of like the retail price, and then like what they'll sell it for is a lot less actually. So.
Yeah, I need to pick it up. I saw it was on Amazon, probably around the same price.
Yeah.
So, So Volume 2 is coming. It's just gonna, we're not.
And I'm fine by that.
But yeah, we're not one of the bigger companies that has the deep pockets that can really push these things out real quick. And, we're never going to be that size. I think the kind of movies we put out, it's not possible. And we're okay with that. We would rather put the spotlight on films that people are like, what? I never heard of this.
Exactly.
That to me is gratifying as anything, when we actually release something and people go, I know the actor, I know the director, how I've never heard of this or seen it.
Exactly. That's what with Mind, Body, and Soul, which is one I've been meaning to get for a long time. Is like, I know Ginger Lynn, I know the director, like you said, Dave Sloan, and Wings Hauser, of course. I've never seen it. It looks good, and that's one I've been meaning to get for a very long time. My problem is, this is my biggest problem with collecting, because like movies like that, that's what draws me in. Like Girl from Hell, My Body Soul, Late Night Classics, and Bikini Drive-In. I get distracted very easily. Like I hear about these movies, and then all of a sudden I hear about another one, and I kind of go, whoa, oh shit, I forgot about this one. So that's my biggest problem. That's what I do.
I can't keep up, man. It's just
exactly.
So many movies. And you can't buy everything. I mean, you can if you want to be in a massive amount of debt. I don't think most people do. So it's like you kind of have to pick your poison. And for me, it's easy. I mean, I don't want to buy everything, but when things get announced, I know exactly what I want. I'm like, gotcha. I'm on top of that. I got that. This one I could put on my wish list, and somebody could give me a gift card at Christmas and I'll pick it up.
Right.
You know, I don't have that need.
I do that.
And I probably used to be that way, and I've gotten older and wiser.
Yeah.
You don't have to buy everything. Just you can cherry pick. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, like I do have a Vinegar Syndrome subscription, but if every boutique label offered a subscription, I probably would still only do Vinegar Syndrome. Because all the other ones are too hit and miss for me. I would rather just grab the ones I want, and you know, that's just me. I know where my comfort zone is in movies, and I know I like the horror exploitation the most. So when Vinegar Syndrome puts out stuff, I'm like, I would have bought that anyways, almost all of it. So let me save a little bit of money. And it's tough. It's very expensive to drop that kind of money, you know, in one fell swoop, drop $800-900, right, for a yearly subscription. But if you can save up and hold back on a few other titles, and you pay that off in the subscriptions in January now, then come later in the year when these movies start coming out, you're like, oh, no stress. They're already paid for 6 months ago.
Yeah.
So there's just, you have to have a plan when you're a physical media collector, or if not, you got stacks of movies that are still shrink wrapped.
Right.
That you haven't not even watched, but you haven't even opened yet. And I try to make a point to watch movies more than I talk about them. And that's hard to do. You're a YouTuber. It's probably the opposite. You probably talk more about movies than you watch them, just because you got to keep your channel running. If you're not on your channel 2 or 3 times a week, people will just go away.
Yep.
I think that sucks, but that's just the nature of the beast of the YouTube channel.
It is. But I do my best to try to watch because like when I say with my collection, like I've always said, is I don't just buy movies to sit on my shelf and never touch them ever again, even if they are an expensive, you know, big box set with all the goodies. I buy them because I want to watch them. I will rewatch them. I take them down. I watch them. So I do my best to do that, like everything I buy, to at least watch them whenever I can. That's what because that's why I buy them. I mean, what's the point of buying if you're not going to watch movies? You know?
I mean, there is a small percentage of fans that just want to like pile them up and flex and take pictures of them, and they might even flip them, and that's your choice. I don't agree with it, but it is what it is. People have been doing it forever, and people are continuing to do it, and there's a market for it. Unfortunately, you know, when Scream Factory puts an exclusive on their website of 1,500 copies, somebody's going to go in there and pick it up and flip it for 3 times the amount on eBay, and it sucks, but it is what it is. I think you kind of feed into that, you know, way of thinking when you make it a $1,500 count. When you own the rights to the film, I think it's a FOMO to create this, you know, and it is what it is. You don't have to buy it. You know, it kind of sucks, but at the end of the day, it's your choice.
Right, exactly. I did get a super chat here. It doesn't really have anything to do with what we're talking about, but Bronson is a longtime subscriber, and he likes asking these type of questions during streams. So I want to get to it real quick. He says, from Bronson Wright Wolf for $5. Mel Gibson is in Braveheart and The Patriot. Mel Gibson directed Braveheart. Roland Emmerich directed The Patriot. Which movie do you like better? Personally, I like Braveheart better, but I do like both movies. I hope that answers your question. But if you wanted to weigh in on that before we move on, you can.
Any movie where at the end, you know, Mel Gibson's getting his intestines pulled out of him and screams freedom, it automatically wins just based off that moment.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, regardless of what you think of Mel Gibson, Braveheart is pretty, you know, it earned its Best Picture win.
Yeah,
Not all those movies that have won Best Picture can say that, but Braveheart's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's a good movie. I enjoy it better than I do The Patriot. But thank you, Bronson, for the $5 super chat. I appreciate that. And I always like to give them I have little clips here I like to play when they, you know, they send in a super chat. So I'll give you a little, here you go.
Somebody said, well, it's because kids won't watch black and white. And you know what I say? Fuck them. They can't watch black and white.
I love Joe Dante.
Me too. He's one of my favorite directors ever. I absolutely love him. Thank you, Bronson. I hope that answered your question. But back to like some of these releases here about the late nights and all that. So they might be a little delayed, which is okay. That's fine by me. I'm happy to wait. I'm looking forward to hearing Ron Ashir and Richard talk together. If you guys get that commentary, I would absolutely love that.
And then most likely the release after that's going to be Lone Wolf, which is obviously it's a werewolf film from 1988. It's not going to have anybody that you're going to recognize in it. It's got rock and roll. It's got werewolf. So you got, old school prosthetic makeups. You got some gore. It's a product of its era. It's 1988. It looks like 1988, the way people are dressed and the hair and the clothes.
You're selling me. I
mean, but it works, man, because everybody knows American Werewolf in London and Howling and Woofin and Ginger Snaps. Who the fuck knows Lone Wolf?
Exactly. I've never heard of that.
That's more exciting to me. Hasn't been available since VHS, so we're talking 35 years. We're going to put it out on Blu-ray. The makeup artist, the name might not be familiar. It's Vincent Guastini. He's most recognizable. He did work on Darren Aronofsky's Requiem for a Dream. So, but he's done a lot of low-budget horror, but that's a fun film. Slipcovers probably needs to be worked on first. I have a couple things in mind. I mean, the werewolf, right? It's got to be front and center.
Right.
And so that's going to be a cool one. A lot of people haven't seen it. But the funny thing is, if you followed Culture Shock long before we were a partner label with OCN, we did a soft announcement on Lone Wolf like 4 years ago.
Right.
And it's just taken us a while to put it out. So people kind of knew it was coming when we announced it. Like, oh, you guys talked about that a long time ago. So it was expected. I think for new fans of us, they were like, what is this? Oh, cool. The artwork's cool. Let me check it out. So that's probably going to be the next one. So Volume 2, Lone Wolf, and The Refrigerator will probably be the third of what we've already announced. And it's a 1991 film. It's about a killer refrigerator. It's really, it's if you like your killer appliance films like The Mangler or just, absurd, what the fuck kind of films, then The Refrigerator, it came out in 91. It kind of has that low budget Frank Henenlotter vibe to it. Like,
oh yeah.
Like, imagine Basket Case, but with the killer refrigerator.
Okay.
That's what you would get, You got, it's gory, it's kind of, it's silly, it's camp, but it's called The Refrigerator. It's not trying to be, highbrow. And actually I've seen the film before and it's really good, but it's been years and I've never owned it because, it was never on DVD. So in all my years of working video stores, I never saw it for rent or it was available. And we have an idea for a slipcover. Can you think what we might do with the slipcover for a movie for like The Refrigerator?
Maybe a refrigerating door open, maybe something similar to that.
But by how many opportunities do you have to do a lenticular cover?
Or yeah, there you go.
I mean, most movies don't give you anything, right? I mean, There's Jack Frost, and then back in the day on VHS there was Bram Stoker's Shadow Builder, which had a really cool one, and then there was the gimmicky, the Dead Pit with the blinking green eyes.
Oh yeah.
And then Frankenhooker had, you press the button and looking for some action.
Yeah.
So The Refrigerator gives us one of those rare opportunities to do,
it's like
the refrigerator door. If you look at the artwork, like if you Google it, there's a woman's body that's just.
I can find that too.
There's a woman's body that's falling out of the refrigerator, and so one of them could be the door is closed. You turn to the side, the door opens, and the woman's body falls out. I just think hopefully we can pull it off. There's a couple different artworks for The Refrigerator, but you'll probably find the one that I'm talking about. I think it's movie.
Let's see if I can find one. I'm trying to find a good big size for us to look at here. Let's see. Finding like the foreign releases of it, the UK versions. Not that one. That's not it.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one it is.
See if I can. This is one I'm getting so far. This is like the same one. Let me share the screen here, because this looks like to be the only one that I'm finding. That one there.
No, it's not that one. It's okay if you don't find it. I mean, you could always do a search on it. But I think it sells. I think it sells the film.
I'm trying to find a good. It's from 1991, right?
Yeah, if you put like in the search 1991 refrigerator, and then go to images, it's probably in there somewhere. I was able to find one. I think I saved it to my computer.
Let's see, but this is one I just found. I don't want to. Can I just see the image, people? They just won't let you see the image.
It's okay when the internet doesn't want you to, it doesn't want to help you.
Yeah, it doesn't.
As soon as you get off this video, you'll probably be able to find it in 2 seconds.
I'll show you this one. I don't think this is one you're talking about, but this is one I just found.
It's definitely the right film, but it's okay.
Yeah.
There's one image though where a woman's body's falling out, so I think that would be.
Yeah, it just wasn't that one. Just wasn't coming up. But then again, I am on Google, so.
So those are probably the next. That's definitely the next 3, and that covers the promo video you showed at the beginning. You got Late Night Classics Volume 2, Lone Wolf, The Refrigerator. We definitely have 15, 20 films after that I can't say too much about, but there's more coming. You would think with a new distributor, we would be out the gate quicker with more, but it's a small company, just a few people. So you can imagine, look at Cauldron Films, which is doing great stuff.
Yeah.
It's taken them a while that they do pre-orders from films, and then maybe 3 months later you get the film. So it's just taking a while.
Yeah, well, like I said, I like supporting you guys. I like your guys' company. I think you're a great guy. I think I'm more than happy to wait. Because like you said, we're getting so many movies now, and I have to budget. I do have to budget because, got a life to live. You got kids to take care of and all that. So I have to budget. And so I'm more than like to buy Lone Wolf and Late Night Classics 2 in the refrigerator. I'm more than happy to wait a couple months, however long it takes you guys. So I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely coming. I mean, I can tell you that I can't say what the films are, but we haven't released a box set yet, but we have one in the works.
Nice.
And it's going to be a Late Night Classics box set.
Now you're getting my heart there. You're getting my heart there because that's my speed.
And it's probably going to be next year, definitely next year. But I can't even give you a hint on how many movies it is because you guys are good. People are good out there at guessing just based off of, we said 2 or 4. They might be able to put things together, and figure it out. But it's going to be a great box set, but it's going to take some time. But that'll probably be next year. And, more new stuff, more old stuff. Kind of want to balance the two. Never want to just focus too much on one thing, because surprisingly, some of the newer movies that we put out, like, let me see.
I know Debbie Does Demons did pretty good for you guys.
What?
Oh, there you go. That's let me see. That's one I was wanting to get too, but the slipcover is gone.
And
yeah, December.
And last one,
Thrust. Yeah, you gotta be careful.
Oh my goodness. Damn it.
Oh, the censorship.
I mean, let's just be honest. Sex sells, because Debbie Does Demons, it's a horror film. There's horror, there's gore, there's exploitation, but I think it was the cover that is why it sold out. The slipcover sold out so well. Jessa Flux, who's the main star of the film, who spins the whole film topless. So, yeah, that sells. I mean, it's a newer film. You know, it's first time on Blu-ray through us, and so you think the old stuff sells better, but it's not always the case. I think we found our audience, and they're horn dogs like you and I. So you know, it's
well, I mean, everything is so censored and so like you can't say this, you can't show that anymore. It's nice to be able to like to find a movie where you know what, she's topless, her tits are hanging out. You know, it's nice to see a movie like that every once in a while, even because like you don't get a lot of new movies like that. So when a new movie like that comes along, you know, something you want to buy.
And now people overanalyze things. I get political correctness, and this is not appropriate. Then you don't watch it.
Yeah,
don't watch it. You complain about it, you're actually giving the movie more publicity. You're probably doing everybody a favor by saying something. And it's like, look, you don't have to watch TV if you don't like what's on it. You don't have to buy comic books if something offends you. And you don't have to watch an adult film or a sex comedy if you're offended by nudity.
Right.
There's a lot of like discourse on social media about why does any movie need a sex scene? And I scratch my head. I'm like, because it's human nature.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of part of most adults' lives, that it carries over into cinema. It actually makes boring movies more interesting as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Do you think Basic Instinct would be popular if it didn't have all the crossing of the legs and all the nudity and sex scenes?
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been the classic it is if it was just a drama with suggested, erotica.
Right. I agree with you.
That once a month that pops up on the internet, and is that just clickbait? Well, I think it might just because they know they're going to get a reaction out of people, that they just throw it out there to get more followers and to have it reach, like 1 million people. Because I've seen they all do really well.
Right.
They get shared around so much, and I think that was their plan.
Yeah, all along.
But I'm like, so for somebody like myself that did grow up with these sex comedies, nudity filled, you do miss a simpler time. And I think the further we get away from these films, as far as the years moving on, the more we need them.
Yeah, I agree.
We need them more because they're not making. I mean, The Asylum has actually done quite a few sex comedies, but they're not like the ones in the 80s or even the early 90s. They're not like Bikini Car Wash.
They're not, no.
Or Bikini Summer. Back then it was just, they just went for it. They didn't, they didn't overthink things. They just shot it and put it out. And
there's also sort of a heart to those movies, regardless of like the girls walking around topless or showing their butts or anything. Like there's still a simple heart to them. A lot of times them are they're love stories. The comedy is actually pretty funny. And there's like something like, I don't know, you like, it's like you get with Porky's or you get with American Pie or something like this. There's a heart to these films, the way that people work together, the way the story's told. It's simpler. It is like you said, a simpler time. It's just like even when I was watching Bikini Drive-In, like there's like a heart to it and I don't know, simplicity. I just really liked it. It really felt like Americana, like old school Americana or something. And I think that we've lost that.
I think there was a great 15-year run, like 1980 to 95. And not just sex comedy, but probably all genres, but where just, they were fun. They didn't overthink things. It was a pre-internet age, pre-digital age. So other than you talking to your friends out in the streets, there was no let's go rush to the internet and complain.
Yeah.
Because there was no option. And people did less fighting because they actually had to talk to people in person. Where now you can go behind a screen name or an avatar and just stir the pot, right? And just kind of start stuff with people about something you don't like. And I think it's made things very toxic. So I miss those days of just watching stuff and not overthinking it. And if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. But I'm not a big fan of censorship. I'm not.
Neither am I.
I mean, to me, we're adults. You just, I don't want to tell you what to watch. Don't tell me what to watch.
Exactly. But I was going to ask you about your late night classic, something that I don't know if you guys can do this or how the rights would be with all this, but have you ever thought about like getting clips from Up All Night from Ron this year to add to the Blu-rays, like from when that movie aired on Up All Night?
You know what? I haven't even thought about it. It probably would be a good idea. I know she's very, on social media, probably would respond to it, but I don't know if that's going to be expensive. I mean, it wouldn't hurt to ask.
Yeah.
It wouldn't hurt to ask, like, as an extra feature to have the bumpers where she's, even if, especially if it applies to the movie, like if we're doing Assault and we can go back and find when she was on, the show talking about Assault, at least as something to watch on the side. But I have a feeling that could be a rights issue, whether it's with her. I think it is with her. And the reason
I think she bought all of it. I think she bought all of her USA Up All Night stuff. She puts it all on YouTube.
When I first got Roku a long time ago, she had a channel that you can actually add, and it wasn't the movies, but it was the bumpers.
Yeah, it's all the bumpers.
And you can watch them. Haven't thought about it. It's something to look into. But one thing that we're thinking about doing is having a late night classics host, like an attractive girl.
Nice.
Somebody who can introduce the film. You remember Scorpion Releasing did something with, I think the girl's name was Katrina, where, attractive girl, 5 minutes talking about the film. You can watch it as an intro or not, or you can skip it. So we're thinking about, I have somebody in mind. I won't say who it is, but I'm thinking about somewhere down the line, maybe volume 2 or 3, having that. I think people seem to focus on host, like we've talked about. Everybody, Rhonda Shear, Elvira, Joe Bob Briggs, Diana, the male girl. Everybody kind of connects to that personality, and I think it would be an extra layer to add to the line. So we're thinking about it.
That'd be pretty cool, because that'd be exciting. I mean, so this is something that I miss as well. That's something I miss as well, because everybody says like those shows and those like host stuff don't work anymore. Well, look at Joe Bob Briggs doing his thing on The Last Drive-In, which is us on streaming, and he's interrupting the movie doing his hosting. So I think these shows can still exist somewhere in DVD, Blu-ray form somewhere. I think they can still be viable, like a host like that. So I'd be down for that if you guys do that.
And I think the only people that really know are the people that sell the movies. They look at the numbers and they go, "Oh, this is doing really well. Let's keep it going." Because when we announced all these new movies that were coming soon, the Late Night Classics was the one everybody was talking about.
Yeah.
It was like 5-1. Yeah, those other ones are cool. I'll probably pick them up, but I want more of these sex comedies because nobody's putting them out.
Right.
I mean, they are. Makeflix has done quite a few Fred Owen Ray films, and they're probably going to continue. And but for the most part, I can't think of a label that's put out maybe 20. There's just so many. If you go back and just look at the VHS artwork, do a Google search of sex comedies from the 80s and just look at the images, and it's just, they're everywhere.
Yeah. There's so many.
Disc. And then you go to erotic thrillers. I mean, there's nothing out there. There's just, I don't know if it's an Elements issue or they're afraid they're not going to sell, but I definitely think there's a market for it.
I think there's, I think that's like you said, and like I've said, physical media has gone back to the collector. It's a niche market. People are collecting, and the people that are collecting are the ones that grew up watching those movies, remembering those movies, and they will more than gladly buy those movies. And to think that, somebody to think that, no, they won't sell, I think they'd be sorely mistaken, because like you said, the late night classics like that. So I definitely think there's a hunger for those type of movies.
And the ironic thing is, before we did Virgin High, people were throwing it out there. Oh, Virgin High. I wish somebody would put that out. And I wanted to say something so bad and I couldn't, but I knew it was like literally like months away. And I just wanted to yeah, we're putting it out, but I couldn't. But literally people were asking, somebody do sex comedies, Yeah. Maybe TerraVision will do it, because TerraVision had done, what was it? The Linnea Quigley's Horror Workout.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I bet you TerraVision's going to do Virgin High. And I just laughed and I was like, close. We're doing it, but if they were, we can't get them all. If they would have put it out, if they would have got the rights before us, they would have, at the end of the day, I just want to own the movies. But there's part of me that wants all of them.
Yeah.
I would love to do, Jim Wynorski's films that are like that. I would love to do all the Brink Stevens and all the Scream Queens that we all love and put out all their films. It's a competitive market. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. It's an absolute competition. Yes, we all love movies and we just want them out there to buy. But when something comes out, I'm like, damn it.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about that film and they're already putting it out.
I wish we would have got it.
Yeah. I mean, I won't give away too much, but just one title I'd like to put out. So when I worked at Blockbuster Video, they were known for censoring stuff, right? So when you hit the new release wall, when you saw Sliver or Basic Instinct or Striptease, it was like the cut version.
Yeah.
Or a Tamer. If there was an NC-17, they wouldn't carry it. If it was R, they would find a way to cut something because they knew a lot of the parents and people that had to stick up their ass would complain because it was on the new release wall. And I remember a customer walking up with Striptease with Demi Moore in the front. She's naked, but you can't see anything. My kid just saw this. Can you flip it over, to the backside? And I was just like, whatever.
Yeah.
but hidden in the comedy section was, do you remember Candid Camera with Alan Funt?
Yes.
Which was like the original prankster show. I think back in the 60s, maybe 70s, where they would prank people. Well, in the early 80s, he did something called Candid Camera with nudity. It premiered on the Playboy channel. So that was the whole point. We're going to make fun of people, but we're going to, guy comes in for a job interview and the woman's completely naked.
Yeah.
That's the whole joke of it.
Yeah,
and there were 6 volumes on VHS. I rented them all and I was shocked because one perk of working at Blockbuster Video was you got 5 free movies a week. So I ended up renting all these movies and going, I can't believe they're showing everything. And some of them were recognizable people. Michelle Bauer was in an episode, Brink Stevens, and there was a porn star named Crystal Breeze. So all these really popular early 80s ladies, because you remember Brink and Michelle Bauer were known for, you need somebody to do a shower scene?
Yeah.
Just have them do it. So anyways, they're in these videos. And I thought, that's a box set for late night classics right there that I would love to do. And nobody knows about these films because unless you were around 3 decades ago and was renting a Blockbuster Video, how would you know these things even exist?
Right.
But those were put out by Vestron Video, which means who do you think owns the rights to it?
Wouldn't that be Lionsgate? Yeah.
I know they've become a little bit more open to licensing stuff. They've been a little bit more, let's look at things. So I'm hoping we can get all of them put out in the box set. And I don't think people would even see it coming because they'd be like, how have I never heard of this? Well, you can find it. There might be some clips on YouTube that are friendly,
Yeah.
But I would love to do a box set. I mean, I could think of the slipcover right now or the slip box, in my mind. I could just think of, how much fun you can have with it. And so that would be like a dream. Oh, you have a new person commenting over. His name that's Malcolm.
So what did I miss?
Malcolm, you missed all the talk about naked women.
That's the best part too, man. You miss all of the naked women. Michelle Bauer, Brink Stevens, all of them. Linnea Quigley.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
That's cool.
But yeah, let me ask you this. Let me twist the interview and put you on the spot.
Go ahead.
Of all these kind of late night classic movies, if you can pick one that's not been put out yet, what movie are you looking for?
Let's see. I got to think back. I got to think back here to some of the movies I actually remember from when I was a kid growing up. Wimps would be one. if you remember Wimps. Yeah, that's an MGM movie. I don't think you guys can do
How
that.
about like Jocks?
Yeah, Jocks, Wimps. There was the I was thinking of the Rhonda Shear one, which is still only on DVD, where she's in the army. I can't think of the name at the moment. It's slipping my head. It was an MGM release.
I know what you're talking about, and I can't think of the title either.
Yeah, I gotta look it up now because it's driving me insane. Because I was just thinking about it, and I was thinking I might try to buy that, and then that movie's going for outrageous amounts of money.
It's not Basic
DVD.
Training, is it?
Yes, Basic Training. That's actually what it is.
Basic Training, Wimps, Jocks.
Yeah. Was HOTS put out? Was HOTS put out already? HOTS?
I'm not sure. There's Malibu Bikini Shop.
Yeah.
There are so many that
somebody
put out Sky Bandit. I don't think I've heard of that one.
Sky Bandits. Yeah, me neither. I'm gonna look it up real quick, see what Sky Bandits is. Let's see. 1986 movie. Directed by Zorn Persiak with Scott McGinnis, Jeff Olstrand. I don't think I've heard of this one. Let's see. It looks like it's a time travel movie, maybe. Through a series of circumstances, a pair of Old West gunfighters end up as fighter pilots in World War One. I don't know if this is a sex comedy, but it looks to be an interesting movie.
I mean, it doesn't have to be a late night classic. You know, could be something separate.
I'll show you. This is it right here. You can see it.
And
I don't have the sound on.
You know what else too is Troma has quite a few sex comedies that I don't know if they're. I mean, I know they put some out, but the quality hasn't been very good on them. I think they put out The First Turn On and a couple other films, but they have other movies in their library that definitely fit the late night classic line. Party Games, Bikini Summer 2.
Yeah, those. That like Aaron Penn says, the Party Games for adults with Sharon Biner.
Oh, Party Games.
Party Games for adults.
Man, there's so many that they're kind of slipping on. What about Joysticks? I think has already been put out though. Joysticks. Yeah,
Joysticks with Jim Wynorski film, or he had something to do with that, didn't he? Maybe not. Maybe I'm thinking of something else.
Skype. Oh, okay.
Okay, but I'm clicking things here. Yeah, I was trying to think of was HOTS was released, and then the Rhonda Shear Basic Training, the Wimps, Jocks. I was trying to think of all of them. There's so many of them. If you go back and you think about them.
The problem is a lot of them you haven't thought of forever, so they're not.
Yeah, it takes a while to remember.
When you haven't thought of them in 30 years, even it's
crazy. It's crazy.
Graydon Clark did Joysticks, yeah.
Graydon Clark did Joysticks. Okay. But yeah, like there's a bunch of Troma that Lloyd Kaufman. I almost said Kaufman. That Lloyd Kaufman has done. Of course, there's like you said, the Jim Wynorski films, the Fred Olen Ray films. There's a lot of those I'm sure that haven't been released, or maybe Makeflix has got. So you don't know.
If you go on Tubi and just put in sex comedies, you'll get your memory back real quick. You're oh my God, look at this one and this one, and
it's interesting. But let me ask you guys something about these. Like, how do you go about to get the license of these movies for these companies if you can get into some of that?
That's actually not. It's not my department.
I know it's not. Yeah,
but I think it goes with anything. You have to find the people that find the director, and he'll either know who owns the rights to it, or they'll own the rights, or they can put you in the right direction. I think sometimes using IMDb Pro, you have access to people and their agents and stuff like that. Sometimes it's a friend of a friend that points you in the right direction. Some movies are easy to get because the director owns the rights, and you just have to make out a price, that's reasonable.
Yeah,
that's not too much. But some are harder than others. But luckily, the sex comedy stuff hasn't been too bad.
That's cool. I mean, they're fun movies. They're just fun movies. I mean, like we talked about, it's like nobody can deny that they wouldn't want to sit there. Like even the prudish approved, I guarantee they sat in their house and flipped on them movies and like watched the girls dance and get naked and stuff. I guarantee they have, because there's that thing where like you shouldn't see it, especially if you're a kid, or that you've been told you're not allowed to see it, but you want to see it, so you watch it. So they're there. I think people like them more than they let on about.
There's definitely a market, and Malcolm, we don't want to see you guys. No. As long as you guys keep your clothes on and the women, we're good.
I just want to be the guy like you, where in the strip club just throwing monies at the strippers. They're naked.
The one thing that I learned being on a movie set is, man, I would never want to be a filmmaker. The hours, like with the whole strike going on, I kind of get their frustration. Besides the money issue and the residuals, they work long hours, man. Overnight. We're not talking 8-hour shifts. We're talking 12, 14, 16. That was the one thing. I always want to just be a fan on the outside looking in. Making movies is tough, dude. The amount of time they actually shoot is short. A lot of it's prep.
Yeah.
When they shoot, then they prep, and then they shoot. And man, that's why I'm not as harsh on films, regardless of their budget. These movies are not easy to make and to pull them off. So the few times I've been on a set or been an extra, just as an extra, which I'm a nobody, right? You're waiting hours, you might be there 8 hours and just to get yourself on screen for 30 seconds.
Yeah. Well, I get that though. But where can we go? What can we talk about here about culture shock and physical media and stuff?
What have you been
see it, but
what are your newest pickups? What have you been
newest pickups? What have I got? Well, I just got I haven't opened it yet because I was going to do a video on it for my channel here, but I got the Arrow 4K Psycho box set. Just got it today in the mail. I haven't opened it up yet at all. So I'm looking forward to opening that up and watching all 4 of them and to see how the 4K transfers look. So that was my newest pickup. And like I said, I ordered the Night of the Demons that are coming. I just got one not too long and I can't even remember it. And I know I watched it. My Demon Lover. That was one of my newest ones. And yeah. I think that's a great pairing. I honestly do think that's a great pairing with Girlfriend from Hell. I double featured that. So that's a great double feature in my opinion.
Yeah, I picked up that Blu-ray too.
I was glad they put special features on it, because that's something that's been pissing me off about Scream Shout Factory. Is like I bought the movie Flashback with Dennis Hopper and Kiefer Sutherland, and I bought the movie The Highwaymen, and like there's no special features, and they're charging $25 for them, and they're charging the same price as I bought my Demon Lover, but my Demon Lover has like 5 or 6 special features on it. So like that's been making me mad, because like I want Flashback with Dennis Hopper and Kiefer Sutherland. I remember the movie. I think that's a great movie. But give me something. You don't even give me the trailer. You don't even give me a making of the movie. You don't even give me interviews with the director or composer.
I'll be back in 1 second.
Go ahead.
1 second. Okay.
Go ahead. I've been the Tomb of Dracula. I've been meaning to get the Exorcist 4K. I don't know about the Pope's Exorcist. I was a little disappointed with Warner Brothers and the fact that with the Exorcist 4K that they only are giving us the 4K and no special features as well. I'm a type of person who likes a good special features on my Blu-ray disc or a DVD, because I think that's such an important thing for them. Welcome back.
They're skipping on the extra features, aren't they?
Yeah, big time, and that's making me mad.
Well, they're getting away with it though, right? They're just kind of a little effort, and the prices are the same, right? $25, $30, and Exorcist 4K. Does that have both versions, the original and the?
Yeah, that's the thing is like with the Warner Brothers 4K, they're giving you just a 4K disc. They're giving you the original theatrical cut and the cut you've never seen, but no special features at all.
They really need to hire somebody to do artwork for them.
I
mean, I know it's just the artwork; it's not the movie itself. It doesn't change what you're going to view. But my goodness, they just stick with the original theatrical one sheet, and you'll be fine.
Right? Ugly ass picture they put on the. Why?
Isn't it amazing that boutique labels get it more? Because the difference is the boutique labels are fans, and the studios are run by suits.
Yeah,
that are not like us, so they don't think about.
You like to go
deep on your
I like to go deep and hard into my physical media disc.
My God.
Just get right in there and turn it around.
Malcolm always has his mind in the gutter, doesn't he?
Yeah. And yes, no, that's true, because you're in the UK too. I forgot about that. The UK version of the Exorcist gets the extra bonus disc, gets the Blu-ray. They don't, like here in America, we get the digital copy, and the digital copy may or may not have the special features. But over there in the UK, they get the extra Blu-ray disc with all the special features on it because they're not as dependent on the digital download as we are.
Let me ask you this: not even culture shock movies. What are like the 2 or 3 films that if you could have somebody put on Blu-ray today? What are like your 2 or 3 that you're like, I want these movies now, regardless of genre?
Right. Well, I could tell you one right now because I've had it for a while, and I actually did a video on this not too long ago. And the 3 movies I wanted actually came out because I wanted Earth Girls Are Easy, My Demon Lover, and oh my God, I can't even remember the 3rd movie now. But all 3 of them got released on Blu-ray like not too long after. But I want it's an Albert Pion movie, Brain Smasher, with Andrew Dice Clay and Terry Hatcher. Never been on Blu-ray, never been on DVD in the United States at all. I think there is a German Blu-ray release, and that's it for Blu-ray. I would love Brain Smasher on a Blu-ray or I'll take Blu-ray. I don't need a 4K of it. I think that would be great. I also have a Warner Brothers movie here that's never ever been on DVD. I'm trying to think of it. It's Rhonda Shear's actually in it. She's in it. It's about the prison where the guy goes to prison. Oh my God, I cannot remember the name of it. It's like a police academy type movie, but it's in reverse where the guy gets arrested and goes to prison. And like
it's not
the prison,
Recruits, is it?
No.
Not Recruit. Okay.
Oh my God, it's right here on my VHS wall, and I don't want to get up and leave you.
It's okay. I had to leave too.
Yeah, give me a minute. I'm gonna grab it real quick.
No, okay, no worries. Malcolm is over here with all the comedy going on here. Let's see.
Okay, I'm back. I got to turn on my
camera. No worries.
Twin Time.
This
has never been put on DVD or Blu-ray at all by Warner Brothers, ever. Not that it's a particularly huge movie, but what's it? The boxer. What's his name? I'm like, my mind is going crazy today. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. What's his name? Muhammad Ali is in this movie.
Muhammad Ali? Really?
He's in this movie. Yeah, he makes an appearance near the end. It's freaking Muhammad Ali's in this movie. Jimmy J.J. Walker. I can't remember everybody's name. It says right here. Rhonda Shear makes an appearance. Richard Mulligan is in it. John Vernon's in it. And Judy Landers is in it. It's a bit of a sex comedy in and of itself. There's not a whole lot of boobs in it. So
I really wish it wasn't with Warner Brothers, because that means it's going to be Shout Factory that would have to put it out.
Yeah, because I wish this would be something up your guys' alley, to be honest with you.
It would. They're a really tough studio to get in with. I know Shout's got a connection with them, so I'm thinking if it ever comes out on Blu-ray, it'll be with them. Mm-hmm. Some of the movies I want that I'm shocked some of them haven't been put out yet. Ghoulies Go to College.
Yes, that's one too.
I'm not. Maybe it's with Vestron. Maybe it's gone. 976 Evil 2. Demon Warp with Michelle Bowers and that one Demon Warp.
There was another Michelle Bauer one that I don't think has ever been out that I was just thinking about as well. It's like an Egyptian.
Oh, that's a Fred Owen Ray movie. That's The Tomb.
Yeah, The Tomb. I don't think that's ever been on Blu-ray.
Also, another one, a Fred film that's with Eddie Deason is Beverly Hills Vamp. Horror comedy. Michelle Bauer is also in it. Not on disc anywhere. Also, Hider in the House with Gary Busey.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's just so many. I mean, those are like the 5, especially 976 Evil 2 and Ghoulies Go to College. I'm like, if they're with Vestron, I'm thinking they would have already put them out with their line. Don't you think?
Right.
I mean,
yeah,
those are given, they're going to sell. So maybe the rights are complicated now. Maybe something changed, but yeah, those are like my top more, camp films that I would like to own. And there's still quite a few that are not out.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I was trying to think. I remember those two because I've had them, the VHSs. I talked about this one and the Brain Smasher, which I would definitely love. But yeah, so a lot of those movies you listed would be great. I'm trying to think some more myself, but I think you listed a lot of the ones I wouldn't mind having as well. So,
I mean, I know there's still quite a few slashers. I think that Vinegar Syndrome will end up doing a lot of the ones like with Fatal Games just being announced. I have a feeling that they're going to put out all the obscure, as long as they're not shot on video. I think that Vinegar Syndrome is going to be the ones that do them. Any 80s slasher that you haven't seen yet, I'm thinking they're going to be able to be the ones to track it down.
Yeah. And I remember go ahead.
Cheerleader Camp's another one I want.
Oh yeah. What's that one? I'm sorry, I keep interrupting you. Go ahead.
Cheerleader Camp, Return to Horror High. Blood Camp Blood movie. No. I think those are David Sterling films. Those don't find their way into my Blu-ray player. David Sterling, no thank you. Night School, I think, is Warner Brothers, so that's probably Screen Factory as well.
What's that one? I think you might have said it. Cheerleader. It's where she's got the pom-poms and she's jumping. It's a skeleton on the cover.
Yeah, that's Cheerleader Camp is the one. And then also Return to Horror High has a similar skeleton with the pom-poms.
Yeah.
Neither one have been on Blu-ray.
You know what? I don't know if this is Prom Night 2, Hello Mary Lou. Hello Mary Lou, Prom Night 2. That's never been on Blu-ray.
It's weird. I think the rights are different in different territories. I mean, I still own the MGM DVD from literally 20 years ago. And I know there's been some collections of 2, 3, and 4 together. Maybe it was Echo Bridge, like DVD set of 2, 3, and 4. But I think something's changed, like the rights reverted back to the producer. Because if it was with MGM, either MGM would have put out a Blu-ray or Screen Factory has a connection with them. They would have put out a balls out, right? Collector's edition Blu-ray. I want 2, Prom Night 2. I want Prom Night 3.
Yeah.
Body Count. That's either going to be Severin or Vinegar Syndrome, I think. The Ruggero Deodato slasher film with David Hess from the late 80s. Somebody's asking about that. I think with Severin finally putting out, Four Flies in Grey Velvet, they're putting out Cemetery Man. They're also putting out The Church in 4K. My money's on Severin doing Body Count. If not, Vinegar Syndrome. But I'm thinking there might be a rights issue with that one, or somebody would have put it out by now.
We need a 4K of Prom Night.
I don't like the first movie.
I always like the second one better. I mean, I thought the first one was all right, but the second one's better. Even though the second one is actually not a prom night sequel, it was a different
No.
movie. They just slapped the name on there.
It was the Haunting of Hamilton High.
Yeah.
And they just took the name brand, which was smart, but obviously it's not really, But going back to the original Prom Night, I think its reputation's based off who's in it, not the quality of the film. I think you got Jamie Lee Curtis at the height of her scream queen, right after Halloween. You take her out of it, you take Leslie Nelson out of it, then people just it is to me it's a very mediocre slasher film, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Opera 4K, that's going to be Severin. There's already kind of been like a leak from Dawn of the Dicks. Oh, I'm sorry, I mean Dawn of the Disc about that. I think Opera 4K is coming from Severin, probably next year.
Yeah.
You don't ever say that to street. Oh, what did I say? I don't know what I said. I've been spouting out nonsense. I don't know. Oh, The Forest is another.
Yeah.
Am I the only one that's not that big of a 4K fan? I mean, it's good, but I'm okay with Blu-ray. Is it just me?
I like 4K. I like picking up some 4Ks now and then, but I'm fine with just getting a Blu-ray or something.
Oh.
What about the movie The Fear? Has that been released? You remember that with the wooden guy?
Oh, Vinegar Syndrome put it out.
Did they? I thought so. I couldn't remember that. But I remember the other movie, The Invisible Maniac was one of the movies I wanted, and that got out from Vinegar Syndrome not too long ago, so I picked that up.
Yeah, there's a sequel to The Fear. I think it's The Fear Halloween Night or something like that. That's not been put out yet. But the original Fear, I have it behind me somewhere. Oh, here we go.
Simcom on the prom.
So see, he's a producer, Peter Simpson. It did go back. Dawn of the Dicks is an actual adult site. Malcolm, why are you Google searching Dawn of the Dicks?
Don't judge. Don't judge.
It's all good. Well, I thought he said he had a wife, but maybe his wife's not a woman. I don't know.
But yeah, there's a lot of movies that just you start thinking about, what we just talked about here. You start thinking about all these movies that don't have releases and who has the rights and how you can get them out. It's crazy. It's insane.
The moment that you think everything is out, something props up and you're like, wow, I completely forgot about that film.
Yeah.
Betsy Palmer. Interesting.
And The Fear 2, I believe.
Fear 2, which I don't think I've seen that one. Yeah, but those, I'm a fan first, so as long as somebody puts them out, I'm happy. I'll jump on, these movies that Dawn of the Mummy, good one.
There you go.
That's a total early 80s exploitation film. That has Severin written all over it.
You know what one I wanted? It only got a German release, which I think it's reason free. But with the H.P. Lovecraft movie with Jeffrey Combs, it's multiple stories. Necronomicon, the Necronomicon. It's only got a German release.
I think that's a rights issue. In America, it's not the same. That's a really good, horror anthology. I love horror anthologies, and that one's never. Not in the U.S. at least. I think there's a problem with rights depending on the country, unfortunately. So you have your all-region player, you're going to need it, I think. But Dawn of the Mummy is good.
Yes.
And I think going back to Invisible Maniac, Adam Rifkin, underneath his pseudonym, he also did, what is it? Psycho Cop Returns. I think it's with Vinegar Syndrome.
Yeah.
They just haven't announced it yet. I don't know what the delay is on. There you go.
Yeah, I heard the guy that played Psycho Cop had put it out saying that Vinegar Syndrome was probably doing a Blu-ray or 4K or something of it.
Yeah, I mean that was announced a while ago, but Vinegar Syndrome's never come out and said anything. But it makes sense because they have a good relationship with him. They were able to do Invisible Maniac 4K, which I never thought would come out at all. So I was happy to own that one.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like what I was just thinking about. Do you remember the movie The Unborn? With is that what it's called, The Unborn? No, that's not. That's something else I'm thinking about. No, I'm thinking it's an H.P. Lovecraft movie, The Unnameable. The Unnameable. Part 2 has never been on Blu-ray. I think MVD did Part 1, but Part 2, which stars Julie Strain as the monster, has never been put on Blu-ray.
I think the first one was Unearthed Films.
Yeah, it's like Unearthed or MVD or something like that.
You're right. The second,
yeah,
you're right. The second one's not out. Interesting enough.
Yeah, it's not out, and it's got David, the British guy. My mind is not working all of a sudden.
Well, I don't know about you, but it's hot over here in California. Is it hot over there too?
No, we're actually approaching fall, so it's starting to cool down. Let me see.
Malcolm is asking about Japanese adult movies. Don't they blur them? They blur out no, seriously. They blur out the private parts, like the pubic hairs. They blur it out.
They do.
These are the ones I watched many years ago. So kind of defeats the purpose of watching them, right?
Yeah.
I
But
mean, I know.
Go ahead.
I know for late night classics, we will do some eventually adult films, but probably not a ton of them because not everybody's a fan of those films.
Right.
They sell. Obviously, Vinegar Syndrome built their brand off of, adult films. I mean, at the beginning, they still do them. Yuma Asami.
I don't know that. I don't know Japanese stuff like that.
No, as far as the Japanese or Asian culture, films, I mean, I think the best is Takashi Miike, who's done well over 100 films of every genre. I think he's probably the best. He's the GOAT.
Yeah. That's who it is. David Warner and John Rhys Davies is in that, and Julie Strain plays the monster. Maria Ford is in it. The Unnameable 2 needs a Blu-ray. Big time.
Yeah, you would think that one would be, together with 2, but again, probably the rights are, mixed up. But see, Unnameable, Maria Ford. Yep, I missed David Warner. He was also in the. I recently picked up My Best Friend is a Vampire.
Me too. I picked that up.
David Warner was always great. I don't even want to call him a character actor because he was too good of an actor.
Yeah,
but regardless of whether you like the film, it was always good to see him.
Yeah,
I mean, not just The Omen, but In the Mouth of Madness, and he popped up in Body Bags. I don't know if you remember the episode, but Stacy Keach was getting the hair. His hair was falling out, and he was getting the extensions, and they were like alien parasites or something. But David Warner, good guy. He's missed. We lost quite a few good people. Like last year, do you remember Kit Natividad? She was a very bosomy, did some adult films, but was basically known for working with what's his name? She did a lot of she was in, what was that movie, Night Patrol? There was a scene where she did a topless scene. I think she might have been in like one of the airplane films. Speaking of which, she did 2 movies in the 80s. One was called Taking It Off, and its sequel, Taking It All Off. And all it is movies that showcase her beautiful body. But that I would love to do a double feature. That's a late night classic. Russ Meyer. She did a lot of work with Russ Meyer, Kit Natividad. That's where I know her from. But she passed away sadly last year. I would love to do some of her films.
Yeah. That'd be, there's probably tons and tons that we could go over of her.
For a second, I thought that he typed something different than titles.
I love those titles.
I thought he put something else for a second. That's right where my mind went.
Got a filthy mind, man. Yeah.
And I think Russ Meyer's films are all like, if you want to buy them, you better come with the money. Like, I forget the person that has all the rights to them, but they're asking big bucks. If you want to get the Russ Meyer estate, if you want to get any of those films, you're going to pay some money. That's why they're not out. They're not available.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm looking forward to your guys' slate, your Daniels or whatnot, however it's all going to work out with you guys of upcoming titles. I'm looking forward to that and see what else you guys come up with for your releases.
I will say this. I won't say the title, but Late Night Classics Volume 3 is a comedy from the 80s that's never been on disc.
That's cool. That's
not
cool.
A sex comedy, but a straight up comedy. If I say too much about the plot, you guys will probably figure it out fairly quick.
Real quick.
Because you guys are very astute at, picking things apart. But that should be next year. And then the box set will be next year. Doris Wishman. I think I have some of her films.
It's amazing that like we were just talking. I've seen what's his name, Jim Wynorski, talking about as well too. Like Hard to Die and Slumber Party Massacre 2 is not on Blu-ray or anywhere. I mean,
were you on Facebook years ago when there was like a mock artwork of a Scream Factory double feature of those two films, and everybody thought it was real? If you look up on the internet when you're done with this interview, do a Google search. It's probably still out there. It looks legit. It's those two films as a double feature, but obviously it never happened. So I don't know if he was difficult to work with. I don't even know who has the rights to it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a big Tinto Brass fan. I was just watching a documentary on A&E about Bob Guccione. You remember the founder of Penthouse? And there was a whole segment that was on that Caligula film that, if you remember, Tinto Brass was the director, but Bob Guccione felt like they needed to spice it up, and he went and shot XXX scenes with Penthouse pets, and they inserted it in the film. Kind of made it notorious. But yeah, that's very interesting.
What about go ahead.
He's talking about Yuma again.
I know, I see it. I think that's coming sometime soon. I heard of some release, but I don't remember the date. I do think
the problem is it's not going to have the XXX scenes.
Yeah, I won't have those.
It's going to try to be more maybe Tinto Brass's vision, which was risque, but it wasn't, the XXX scenes, and they're trying to maybe more of the plot, but that's a long film. I don't know if I could take any more of that. It's a long film, and you actually need some titillation here and there, because let's be honest, if you're going to tell the true story of Caligula and what went on in the Roman Empire, you kind of have to go there. I mean, yeah, it's got the gory stuff, right? The violence and mutilation, but the orgies were part of the scene. So I think that Bob got that right, to be honest with you, by adding that to the film.
Yeah. What about those Anna Nicole Smith movies, like where she's like in a skyscraper? I can't think of the name at the time.
No, there's actually one called Skyscraper.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's called Skyscraper. It's like Die Hard. It's kind of like Die Hard with her.
That's a whole thriller genre that's really not been tapped into. It's just not happening.
I don't think those have ever been on Blu-ray, have they?
But really quickly, going back to Caligula.
Yeah, go ahead.
Helen Mirren, Malcolm McDowell, Sir John Gielgud. They must have been paid really nicely, because that's just not the kind of cast that you would think you would get for a film like that. Skyscraper, Culture Shock. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of right up your guys' alley.
Hey, I'm always down for recommendations, because sometimes you forget about films, and it's the fans that kind of, you remember by what the fans are asking for. Summer Camp Nightmare. Never been on disc. See, there's just when you think you know them all, then there's still so many more that have never been put out.
Yeah, you keep thinking you never know. Severin Films is doing Caligula on 4K. Okay, I had to look that up real quick.
Malcolm Endowed.
Malcolm Endowed. I'm naked. I'm naked after Malcolm Endowed, but I'm called Malcolm. I think he said that wrong.
You know what's one I was thinking about? There's a early 80s kind of a giallo type film called Bloodlink with Michael Moriarty that's really good. It probably would be put out by Severin. I believe the director is Albert Di Martino. I think he directed like Holocaust 2000 and Antichrist, but I want to own that one. It's really good. I've seen it years ago. And if you look up the artwork for it, it's a total ripoff of New York Ripper. It's called Bloodlink. But the image is of the guy coming down with a knife. And really good film. I'd love to own it. Blood Tracks. Snowbound slasher film.
I don't think I've heard of that one. Oh, yeah. It's just like when you think about them, there's just so many.
And I was talking to Aaron about, how Vinegar Syndrome, they did their pre-orders for Black Friday. One of the hints is a slimy film from like one of the greatest directors of the genre. And as we know, they have access to Paramount Films. Paramount owns quite a few films from Dimension. The Weinstein brothers.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be Mimic.
Mimic would be good.
Well, I think the hint, slimy, that's about those, killer cockroaches. There's little scenes in the movie where it drips off like a pipe or something.
There's also something else that could be, which I doubt it would be this, but I wouldn't mind having this because it's not been on Blu-ray either. Phantoms with
This is my guess. I don't have any inside info or intel since they have
lights.
Right, because they have access to Paramount and Dimension, Phantoms, Dracula 2000, Night Watch, From Dusk Till Dawn, maybe 1, 2, and 3 box set. Why can't they do those? Somebody said Rocktober Blood. That's already been announced by TerraVision.
Yeah, I think they have that. Yeah,
but all those 90s to early 2000s Dimension films, maybe they could do a box set of all those Children of the Corn sequels on Blu-ray.
I think Arrow did like the first 3.
They did, but maybe
like 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, 4, 5, 6. There's like quite a few after it.
Yeah. What's up, Kurt? He says, "Hi, FanZcene. Nice to see the live stream. Big fan of Tinto Brass. One movie that I really like was The Key, 1983. Saw that in college. Is that on Blu-ray? I have the VHS copy of that film. Great flick. I don't know. Does anybody know if The Key from 1983 is on Blu-ray?
I forget the name of the company, but there's somebody that's doing a bunch of a pre-order, like not a Indiegogo Kickstarter, like. You can buy it's a Tinto Brass book in a couple of his movies, like Frivolous, Lola, and I forget the other one. It's slipping my mind, but I think The Key might be with that company. I just can't remember off the top of my head. Let me look it up real quick.
What is the 10 film set coming from Vinegar Syndrome? I haven't gone to their thing. I know they got the Prophecies with Christopher Walken, which I plan on getting because I love those. I know they got Daryl, which I think those are the 2 I saw that I like the most, but I didn't see what's the 10 film set.
Okay. The Tinto Brass is from Cult Epics.
Okay.
They're doing 4K restorations of All Ladies Do It and Frivolous Lola. I wouldn't be I bet you they have The Key. I'm a little bit underwhelmed by that set. It's going to be 10 movies, and I probably will like 5 of them because they're very obscure, very acquired taste kind of films.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of what they built their company on. So I commend them for going back to their roots.
Yeah.
But I'm not as excited by that set as I am. I'm more excited by the Prophecy 3-pack and
right.
That Fatal Game slipcover is amazing. For a second there, I thought that was the killer from the Frighteners on the front, right? Like
right.
The ghost, like the Grim Reaper, but amazing artwork.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting a Prophecy. I'm definitely getting Prophecies and Daryl and some of those other ones that they had. I didn't even see the 10 film set. So
Daryl totally fits in the VSU if you like Cloak and Dagger.
Yeah,
I could see other films fitting that line, like maybe like War Games 4K or Solar Babies, or just kind of those offbeat 80s films.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the 10 film set, like a lot of people are raving about it. I think there's some good ones in there, looking at the titles and who made them. But it's when I get them in stock, it's probably going to be of those movies that come in, probably at the bottom. I'll work my way through what, is the most important to me, at least.
Yeah. Thanks, Kurt. Appreciate it, buddy.
Is that one of your regulars?
Yeah. Good.
And I apologize to people that I know Saturday's not ideal. I know Monday through Friday you probably have more people tuning in, but unfortunately,
this pretty good. And plus, this will grow. This will grow over time. So,
yeah. Well, it's always good just to come talk shop and with fellow fans. Aaron's really good. I was on his channel a couple of weeks ago. Malcolm has been joining Aaron, so they're kind of like a really good Conan O'Brien and Andy Richter.
Yeah,
they kind of like play off each other, which is entertaining. I think more YouTubers should do live streams if it's possible. I think the interaction you could do with fans is actually going to make the video. More people are probably going to watch it. I like to interact with fans. I'm not.
Yeah.
The
thing with live streaming is I would do more if I had more time. I do one every Wednesday night at 9:30 called the Physical Media Show. I do that every Wednesday. But the thing with the live streams is especially with the YouTube algorithm is they're good for the first 3 days after release. Then depending on what hits popular in the next algorithm, they don't get as much play down the line. But I leave mine up because mine tend to last a little longer. So,
and also with live streams, you can get people that want to slide in there and just cause trouble. Sometimes live streams, yeah.
Sometimes, but for the most part, I mean, once you find your audience and they show up, you don't have to worry too much about those people. Sometimes you go worry about bots. Sex bots will pop in and try to drop links, and then you just block them and you're good.
Why would they possibly want to come in this video? We haven't talked about that stuff.
No, it's weird. Sometimes they do that.
Well, I hate to cut things short, everybody, but I kicked the family out of the house for 2 hours. Hopefully they're, not upset with me, but I'm probably going to have to leave here soon. But thank you for having me on.
I do live streams every 6th day of the 9th month on my OnlyFans.
I
told my OnlyFans. I got feet pictures everywhere.
I told you he's the comic relief, Malcolm there. But thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. I hope we got to go over everything. More movies are coming, but just have to be a little patient and promise you the slipcovers are going to come out really good. And follow us on our social media. We'll when stuff gets announced, we will blast it out.
Yeah.
And there's a very good possibility that we're going to do Culture Shock Saturdays. That's when we're going to announce them. That way there's some breathing room away from TerraVision, who we're working side by side with, running the same company. So that'll be good,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad to hear that, and I'm interested to see where you guys take this company, Culture Shock. What you're going to have coming down the lane, because I think you guys are really cool. I really dig your stuff you guys have been putting out.
No, thank you, and thank you for everybody for coming on to the video. Thank you for, if you've ever purchased anything from us, we appreciate it, and there's more to come.
Yeah,
stay tuned.
Be on the lookout. And there are links in my description down below in the description there for Culture Shock, Grave Face. So you guys want to go check it out and order you guys something. It's there for you guys. I recommend the Late Night Classics and Girlfriend from Hell.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see if Joe Lynch liked Slashdance, because I believe I helped sell that to Joe Lynch. So
no, I saw what you did. Thank you.
Yeah.
He didn't even know what it was, so
yeah,
you introduced it to a new person. Somebody who never heard of it before.
Yeah. But thank you so much, Jason, for being here. To everybody in the chat and everybody that was watching, thank you all for hanging with here. I like to close out my streams a little special way, so I hope nobody new takes offense to this. But you don't have to go home, and you can't stay here.
How you doing? Bitches leave.